So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Women's Day event that we have today. My name is Shiham. I am joined here by my two very dear friends and coaches, Fatma and Noura.
Hi, Shiham. Hi, Shiham.
Ladies, I think we can start with a quick introduction. Each of you can just tell everybody a little bit about yourselves.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Noura. I'm an NLP practitioner and theta healer, and most of my clients are women, and I am very passionate about uplifting and helping women, especially mothers.
Okay, I'm Fatma. I am a life transformation and mindset coach. I love empowering women mostly because I believe we are the power and the strength of the society. So one of my best passion is to empower women to tap her potential and find her identity.
That's great. And as I said, my name is Shiham. So I am a self-discovery coach, and I work with women to also help themselves rediscover who they are, find their identities, and really just find their way in this world and create the lives that they want to live.
Okay. So since this is a Women's Month and there's so much that we celebrate about women, and we decided to have this topic where we know that women are powerful, they're strong, and we have a lot of things that we can offer to society. But strangely, there's a lot of women who play it small and they don't want to show their potential. And this is what we're going to discuss today. Why do women play small, even though they know that they're capable of doing much more and supporting society in a very powerful way?
Absolutely. So ladies, I think a good place for us to start this conversation is to really get, what does it mean to you when we say a woman might be playing small? What does it mean to play small?
For me, it's like she's not living up to her full potential because society or culture or family or whatever has told her that this is how a woman is supposed to act or behave or carry herself, and it comes with a lot of limiting beliefs. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
You just mute yourself, please.
You can mute Abby as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me to add to that as well, when I talk about a woman playing small, I feel like it's women just not realizing their power and how much they're actually capable of. I think we have a lot of self-doubt. I think there's a lot of lack of self-worth when it comes to a lot of women. And because of those limiting beliefs that we might have about ourselves, we tend to sort of diminish our capabilities.
That's true. For me, I think it's the idea of a woman finding herself not good enough and having guilt because we are identified as mothers, as daughters, and all these identities make us to be in a box of behaving and being in a certain way. And kind of we didn't end up not forgetting finding our own identity as a woman. So you play small because you're identified as something, and you end up not finding your own power or potential to support other or to become a better version of yourself.
Right. And this is how you're supposed to act, right?
Yes.
So you're supposed to behave.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of the women that I work with the coaching, when I say, or for example, calling myself a self-discovery coach, it's exactly because of this reason, because I feel like women, as women, we get lost in the different titles, right? So as you said, I'm a mother and I'm a this and I'm a that, but it's like, who are we beneath all of that? Once you start peeling off the layers and you go, okay, besides a mother, besides a sister, besides a wife, besides an employee, like who am I at my core and what is it that I truly want out of life?
Exactly.
And I think that's sort of the thing we become so disconnected
from our true self.
Exactly.
And I think it's also the idea of defining a woman, like there's so many housewives or mothers, and they're actually doing a good job raising their children, making someone becoming a lawyer, becoming a doctor, but when you come to this woman, she will play small and say, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a housewife. That is a fact that you forget what you're doing because society defines success in a very different way.
Yeah.
So we play small because we think if you do a business, or if you are in an office, or if you are doing something that people can acknowledge, then you become that powerful woman. But in reality, you are an identity of your own, no matter where
You're
you
already
are.
a powerful.
You are already a
But
powerful
you don't
woman.
give
You
yourself
just-
credit.
Exactly. We don't know how to acknowledge who we are.
You know, it's interesting when you say this about sort of comparing to a housewife or somebody working in, let's say, the corporate world, because what I also realized is even when you find a woman in the corporate world and she's really strong and dominating and she's a leader over there, she could be a CEO, she could be whatever, she plays a very different role when she's at home. You know, I was recently
She's less than.
speaking, yeah, it's like she's less than. So in the corporate world, you know, women might feel, okay, we need to step up and compete with the men. Yet she comes home and then again, she goes down and she's no longer that CEO in the house because she then has to take on the mother role or whatever it is.
The wife role.
Yeah.
And sometimes also we have to play small to make the man feel bigger, which is not our responsibility.
Exactly.
But so many women feel that it is, because this is another thing. I recently had a client. She's doing really well in her life right now. She's got a lot of things going. She's really on this path of growth. So her career is going really well. She's in a good space mentally, physically, emotionally, and she's genuinely happy. But she feels like she can't celebrate or show that because her husband's not in the same place where she is right now. So she's feeling like she needs to play smaller or, you know, sort of diminish what she is going through to make him feel bigger or like a bigger man.
And you know, I can relate to that because that is guilt. You know, we have a lot of guilt. I'm a mother, I'm a working mother, and I don't have enough time with my children. So when I come home, I have to compensate. And I don't even want to ask them to support me in any way because I want to become that
I want to do everything
perfect
myself.
mother. You know, the superhero syndrome. I'm a mother. And the guilt makes you try to compensate with a lot of things. And you tend to forget that you're very powerful. The fact that you're working and you're taking care of the house and you're taking care of everybody else, you're such a powerful person that you need to celebrate yourself. So I think guilt is one thing that a lot of women have in so many ways because society also has made us believe that a woman has to have a smaller part in playing.
Yes.
And like your role is big, but it's being diminished by what is defined to be a perfect woman. So the guilt and being perfect, I want to be a perfect mother. I want to be a perfect daughter. And if I'm perfect, I'm going to be loved. So we are looking for that acknowledgement from others.
That's the question that I always ask my clients also come to me with this women identity is what is a good woman?
Yes.
And if you say a good woman is somebody who takes care of a family or whatever, okay, according to who?
But then also, like you know, you're talking about being a good woman, you're touching on the topic of perfectionists, you know. Like, when is it enough? So let's say I'm the superwoman, as you put it. So I'm going to work, I'm putting food on the table, I'm providing for my family. I come home, I make sure that there's a cooked meal, my house is clean, my children are fed, I'm helping with the homework, I'm doing all of those things while I'm trying to, you know, develop myself, and I'm reading my books and I'm listening to my podcasts and I'm doing all of these things, yet we still feel it's not enough. So when is it enough?
I think when it's enough is when you accept yourself for who you are. I think that's a very important thing that women need to understand. Before people accept you, you have to accept yourself. You need to love you. You need to acknowledge I'm not perfect, but I'm good in my imperfection.
Worthy.
And my imperfections are the things that define who I am and how I can grow and become different.
I think also you have to put up boundaries, right?
Yeah.
You have to say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and you are going to do ABC. And if you don't want to do ABC, well, then sorry, ABC is not going to get done. Because I'm not going to sacrifice myself, continue to sacrifice myself to put everybody else first and I'm last. And I continue to pour from an empty cup, which means my children are getting an empty cup, my family's getting an empty cup, my work is getting an empty cup, and slowly, I'm just dying inside.
But this has become the norm, and I feel like this is the sad thing because every woman that I speak to, like, she knows her cup is empty. She knows she's doing way too much,
empty,
and she still continues. It's like, you know, in the car and the light is flashing to stop for fuel, and she's just not filling it. And the thing is, we don't realize like how we're burning ourselves out. And even despite all of that, still don't feel that we're good enough.
Yeah. And I think it's the fact that now when we talk about society, we talk about the beliefs that we've been installed in us. Yeah? So you've been told a girl cannot raise her voice and you cannot talk in front of people. Or a girl cannot be this and cannot be that. And these beliefs, either you are told to become inferior or you are told to become perfect. So it depends with the parents or the people who raised you. If you are taught to become perfect, so you're very competitive and you feel everything is for you to run after so that you can define that woman. And if you are taught to become small, then your belief leads you to become that inferior person because I don't want to stand up and show myself because it's haram, it's ape, it's whatever.
A woman should be seen and not heard.
But I think when you come to understand what is the definition of what people are saying and who am I, then you find your balance. It's finding the balance between not forgetting who you are and what you want,
right,
and creating that life that you want. It makes you stand out as a woman better than, and when you understand these beliefs that you had since when you were a child, you start working with them, and how are they holding you back from building or becoming that woman that you want.
That's why it's important to distinguish between what are my beliefs and what are the beliefs of other people.
right.
Like whose thoughts are these? Whose voices on these in my head? You know, is this mine or not? And if it's not yours, then you know, lovingly, kindly release it because that is holding you back.
Yes, because I'm just thinking now when you're saying this, we're talking about setting boundaries, right? But imagine the way we were raised, the way you were described is what are boundaries? It's unheard of. How dare you? You know, and then like when you talk about the beliefs, so it's like, you know, it's who am I to set these boundaries, or am I allowed to set these boundaries? And then of course, when you do start setting boundaries, it's not accepted in a very favorable way. And you've been told that, you know, this is your place and this is what you're supposed to do. And we're sort of torn between, okay, I know I'm supposed to set boundaries, but this is also the way a woman is supposed to behave.
Yeah.
So
that's why I think it's important, if you are discovering this topic, for you to decide what is a good woman. Because that definition should and will differ for everybody because it's based on your own perspectives, right? But it's also important to quiet out the noise of everybody else.
And when you say
you're doing that,
define it, it's not society's definition,
no,
it's your definition.
From your internal being.
I know,
deep inside yourself.
Someone said something, and this has stuck with me. He said that society is a group of normal people who have the same rules. And if you want to define who you are, you have to go above that.
That's beautiful.
And I think a lot of women forget that society is there to
control,
to define, to say this is what is right. But when you're in your house, when you're with your children, when you're doing what you want, you have your own identity apart from what everybody. And as Nora says, when you put that noise aside and say, this is me, these are my values, you know, these are the values that define me. I like freedom. I like creativity. I like independence. How do I put my values in a place so that I can be my own identity? But at the same time, I become that mother, that wife, that daughter that I'm expected to be, and enjoy my life. And I'm saying this because most of us, all of us here coming from Africa, and I think the fact that we've been taught to survive a lot, you know, survive, you're a woman, survive and raise your children. This is what our mothers are doing. They're surviving to raise us. So we are not taught to think about how can I live my life and enjoy being a woman instead of just surviving and providing for everybody else and becoming my own identity.
Oh, that's so true.
I think so when we think of it like I need to live. I love my family, I love who I am, but I need to live as a woman and I need to have my own identity, my own freedom. Then you tend to understand what you really want in life. And when we were talking before, we talk about, you know, the wheel of life where you walk around everything, and including of it is spirituality. So you know, oh, this is me. How am I connected with my maker, and what exactly do I have to balance my life so that I become the person that I want?
Yeah,
exactly.
Those values are so core, right? Like, and again, I've seen this with people. It's once you realize what those core values are, I think that's really sort of that introduction to discovering who you are, because you know that this is what drives me at my core. And if I just start living in alignment with those values, I can start to see those shifts in my life. And
smoother process.
Yeah,
there will be less resistance in your life as well.
I would like to ask, ladies, do you have any questions or anything that you'd like to know or share or add, or anything that's sort of standing out for you? Donna, Hamida. I know we're putting you on the spot, but anything?
Yeah, yes, morning everyone. Sorry that I joined a bit late.
No worries.
You know, I'm so overwhelmed by everything that everyone is saying, because a lot of the topics that you touched on, yes, Shyam and I think we covered it over a space of, I think, 9 months. So at this moment in time, I'm just all over the show. But okay, so my question would then be, where would someone that is only like starting to realize what boundaries are about, trying to figure out what her perfect her will be, or perfect idea of being a mother. I don't know, you say it comes from inside, but I don't know, I'm a bit like shaken up. I'm not sure, because of all the influences that I'm supposed to completely ignore. I'm still like,
quiet, as Noura said.
It's hard.
And I
to
think
quiet.
Noura said, yeah, quiet the noise, Donna, quiet the noise. She told me in the week, quiet the noise. So yeah, I think maybe if you could elaborate on that a little bit. In terms of, I can only speak for myself. I'm completely overwhelmed. I'm still like, there's so much information. I have so much guidance, so much going on, but like, what would be the first step? I don't know. How would you go about like quieting the noise so you can find out what it is, who it is you really are?
Okay.
Over, Noura.
So for me, the first step is you focus on your breathing. Firstly, you have to be somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, somewhere you like to be. Maybe it's the beach, maybe it's a garden, maybe it's your bedroom, somewhere where nobody can interrupt you, right? A safe space. And you need to create that safe space for you. And you need to like sort of make a ritual out of it. Like every morning at 6 o'clock, I'm going to my safe space. And I'm gonna sit there for 5 minutes and not do anything, not listen to anything, no phones, no nothing. And I'm just gonna connect to my heart. Okay? You're gonna have a lot of stray thoughts coming out, like school and whatever, lunch and work and whatever. It's fine. You can't stop thinking, right? But once you connect to your heart and you just focus on your breathing, you're gonna feel like what little Donna wants to tell you here inside. You're just gonna start feeling, or thoughts are gonna come up like that. But I should go on vacation, or I shouldn't do this job, or I should travel more, you know? Things are gonna come up and you're gonna start making realizations, or you're gonna start meeting people that's gonna come to you with a message, or you're gonna read something, or you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is what I really want, you know? So it's just tuning in and then also opening yourself up to receive those messages. Right? Does that make sense? And then, of course, as you know, you can always work with somebody to help you and guide you on this process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another thing is contemplating. I think when you allow yourself to contemplate on the things that you're doing, like think about, today I want to start, I want to go out, but then what are the things that are stopping me from going out? And you start understanding, listening to those voices. And I think that's, for me, that has always helped me. I was telling them, I just realized even now I still have doubts when I want to do things. And what I do is I want to find the source of that doubt. What is it making me? And I contemplate, if I keep on doubting myself from going to see Shiham today, what is the outcome of me not going? Is it going to help me become a better person, or is it going to make me being the same person? And I think when you allow yourself to ask yourself questions of, why am I doing this? How can I get to get what I want? What is stopping me from reaching where I want? And you start contemplating on these questions, you tend to answer yourself, and you start having an understanding of what you really want. So I think having time for yourself, as she said, you have me time, and having time to contemplate, doing things that you love, and you start contemplating of, why didn't I do this before? What was holding me back? And for me being here, holding myself for this long, this is the outcome. So I want to become this. What do I have to do so that I can go through that path? I think that also helps because you start talking, having conversation, this self-talks, and talking to yourself. So you start to understand and connecting with your inner self.
To add to what Fatima is saying in that sense, it's always helpful to keep a journal.
Yes.
Like, don't think about it. Let the pen just talk for you. Write down whatever comes to mind.
Yeah.
And this is how you also vent out those stray thoughts. And this is how you also get to the core of what you really want.
Yeah.
And I think just also a final thing to add to that is, we speak a lot about mindfulness as well. And Donna, this has been a topic that's come up also. It's genuine mindfulness to really start making it a habit in your life. Because when you really are present in what you're doing, you start to realize which are those activities or people or things that are serving you and that are not. Because when you are mindful, you start to notice how you feel around certain people, things, and situations. And you start to realize that, you know what, maybe these aren't my people. Maybe this isn't my thing, because you are actually focused on what you're doing. It's like when you're sitting and eating a meal and you're really tasting it and chewing it and you go like, actually, I don't like the flavor of this, right? So you could be sitting in a conversation with people and, when you're there and you're sort of reflecting and really being in the moment and listening to the conversation, you can go back later, as Fatma said, and contemplate and sort of reflect on the conversation, and you start to realize, but this isn't something that interests me anymore. So I think when we become more mindful, we start to connect more to the things that we do, and this is how we start to realize, and little by little we start to get to know ourselves, because it's not like we wake up one morning and we go, okay, this is the true me. Right? It's every little day you start figuring it out. And I just read a quote yesterday which I liked, because they say we create our lives. You consciously create the life that you want, because I think we need to let go of this notion that there's this perfect life out there and I'm searching with a map and I'm gonna find it and it's gonna be like my treasure. It's not like that. You've got to slowly, you do the work, you do the meditation, you do the mindfulness, you do the contemplation, the sitting with yourself, and slowly you're peeling away layers and layers, and you're finding yourself and discovering what is that life that I want, and then you go out and create that life, because it's not just going to happen. So even all these things we're talking about now with the woman playing small and so on, we've got to actually consciously make a choice to be like, this is not the life that I want. I do not accept being in this role. This is who I want to be. This is the life that I actually want. And I think at whatever level, we all know what we want and we don't want, because you feel it. When you're in a situation that does not make you happy, you feel it. We've had conversations, all of us, I think, about people that have been in our lives, and we're like, we just don't feel those people anymore.
Vibe with them. Their vibes.
And they've not done anything wrong. It's just because you come to that realization, and through that realization, you can then make choices and create that life that you want.
And it's okay. Like, it's completely okay to choose who you want to spend time with.
Yes.
Or what you want to do, what you want to focus your energy on. Like, if something doesn't resonate with you or someone, it's not to say they're a bad person or they are whatever. Your energy just don't gel with their energy, and that is fine. We should really learn to cut ourselves some slack and be kind to ourselves.
Acknowledge, when we talk about being kind, you do a lot of things that are powerful. And when you just sit and acknowledge yourself and say, I'm good, this is me, I did it. Every time you acknowledge yourself and you see that thing, you build your confidence. And kind of you don't need that acknowledgement from outside. I think most of us want people to tell us how good we are. It's not bad, and it's not you're not being selfish when you say, I'm good in what I do, and I acknowledge myself, and I need to celebrate me as a person. I think that's very important, and that's what's one thing that's making people, when people don't say, you keep on saying, I'm not good enough because they didn't say, or they didn't acknowledge acknowledge me at work, or my friends didn't mention this about me. But you need to acknowledge yourself, because the more you acknowledge yourself, you build that confidence, and you start finding yourself becoming more and more, and start doing things that are more powerful and you can't imagine.
Usually, if you're looking for outside validation, you have to, like I said, sit still and look, where in my life am I not valuing myself? In which area do I still play small, or do I still feel like I'm not good enough? You might feel like, well, I'm a good businesswoman, but then you go and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a bad wife, or I'm a bad mother because Shyam on Instagram does all these cute snacks or whatever, and I'm just giving peanut butter bread. You know, like, we all still so much compare ourselves to what we see on the internet, especially as women. And we still compete with each other as women.
Yes.
Often we focus on the male-female competition, but I think the worst competition is women to women.
And I think that's why we don't feel good enough, or we don't value ourselves, because we're constantly competing, whether we want to admit it or not. It's like, I was saying to Noura the other day, why is it as women? So let's say we see a gorgeous woman with an amazing body that we would aspire to have. Instead of just appreciating that she has an amazing body, we then look at ourselves and go, oh, look at my love handles. Oh, look at my arms. Look at my, It's like, why can't we simply appreciate the beauty in another without putting ourselves down? And that's why we say the competition amongst women is probably our greatest threat. And so absolutely toxic. And I know a lot of the things come to, we're talking sort of about business people versus mothers. What's interesting, in the corporate world, you get annual appraisals and you get these performance reviews where your line manager sits down and they tell you if you're doing a good job or not, and you get praised at work, right? There's a certificate of appreciation or something. But who in their life has ever had this in real life, where your husband's going to come end of the year, you were a great wife this year,
oh damn,
or your child's going to come and you were mother of the year. It's not going to come. Like, you have to do that performance review for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Nobody's going to give you a bonus because you did Instagrammable lunches this week.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the conversation that we talk as women, see, the conversation we are having right now is to allow women to think of how she can get better. When we go out the competition of saying, this is what I have, and this is what I have, and this is what I'm doing, and we don't empower each other to think beyond materialistic things. I think we all look at the physical change, that I changed, that I lost weight, that I bought a car, that I bought a house, that my husband this and this. But we don't support each other to go back inside and say, how are you growing as a person? How are you feeling?
How's your mental health?
Yeah, how's your mental health? How are you feeling? It's not shame to tell someone, I feel I am depressed, or
it's not a good day today.
I'm sad, or I'm feeling anxious, and it's okay for people to say this, because then we allow them to find healing. I think the conversation that you share and the people that you sit around really important, because if you have people who don't understand what you're going through, you're going to have this facade of trying to be confident and putting yourself like, I am okay.
We have to pretend and adapt.
So you don't have to adapt. If the surrounding doesn't suit you, find people who empower you to be able to say what you're really feeling, because then that's the only time you come out of it. Because there's this guy who said something. He said, whatever is happening in your life is valid. What you choose to do with the emotion is what makes the difference. So whether you're sad, it's valid. Whether you're poor, it's valid. Whatever you're going through is valid. But what do you do about it? Do I sit and become that poor, sad woman, or do I change myself so it depends really with the people who you are sitting with, and what conversation you're having.
I think safety for me is a big thing.
Yes.
You need to feel absolutely safe in the circles that you're in.
Yes.
If you don't feel safe, you're going to just sit there and suppress yourself. Yeah?
You're always going to play small.
You're going to play small, you're going to suppress, and you are never going to feel worthy of being your truest, most beautiful self.
I think Donna wants to say something.
Yeah.
I actually have a question. So you've now made that decision. You're not going to play small anymore. What type of challenges do you think we will face, particularly in like very close relationships, like, you know, people that you work with, or even like the relationship with your husband, your boyfriend. If you decided that's it, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. What type of challenges do you think a woman may face, and how would you handle a situation like that? I'm only asking because I want to be fully prepared, ladies, fully prepared.
I love it, Donna.
I can tell you now, when you start setting boundaries, you're gonna ruffle feathers, because you know that quote that you see it everywhere. They say, you know, the only people who get upset about you putting boundaries are the ones who benefited when you had none. So remember, when you start setting those boundaries and you step into who you are, they're not going to benefit from you anymore, right? Like, not in the sort of abusive way of benefiting. I mean, now we're not saying, and please don't get me wrong, and I think this is for everyone, when we say set boundaries and own who you are and don't play small, we're not saying start neglecting your children and don't care about anybody and just give up, like, you know, YOLO, it's my life and I'm going to live it. We do still have responsibilities, but I do think you have to prepare yourself for when you start setting boundaries, people are not necessarily going to like it, but I am going to say stick with it, because you have to be consistent with your boundaries. It can't be something I do for this week or 1 or 2 weeks, new me, new whatever, and then after 2 weeks you're back to the old you, because, you know, you're then sort of behaving like a yo-yo, and they're never going to respect your boundaries until you are consistent with them. But when you show that, you know what, this is me and this me is here to stay, eventually they'll have to go with the flow, and hopefully you inspire them to, you know, be better and set their own boundaries.
You know, if there's ever a situation where you have to choose between you and someone else, always choose yourself. Always. And when you set your boundaries and you are now this like new empowered person, when it comes from a place of love and kindness, it will be accepted as that, right? Because that is the energy that you're putting out there. You're putting out, I love myself, I'm kind to myself, and automatically it transmits to other people as well. And as your energy elevates, those that are at the lower frequency are naturally going to fall off. You know, so during the process of setting boundaries, like Shyam said, stick with it. A lot of people are not going to be happy about it, obviously, because now, first of all, why did you change? You used to be like this and now you're like this. Like, what's happening now? You know, but when it comes from a place of love and kindness and self-empowerment, and it's about you, you're not saying like, I'm not going to give you breakfast anymore because YOLO or what, I'm a woman or whatever. You know, it's not coming from a place of a grudge or revenge. It's coming from love and kindness and putting yourself first. And the relationships then that are meant to be, they will support you and continue to uplift you, and you will inspire to uplift them as well. But those that doesn't, the energy doesn't match the frequency, they will naturally fall off, and that's okay. Lovingly release them. Say thank you. Bye.
I love that from where you're coming from, the intention. Because as much as you're asking how much people are going to react, you're going to change yourself, and it's going to be a challenge for you yourself to understand. Because you're creating a new you, and your mind is still stuck in the old you. So this confusion is going to pull you back and forth. But if your intention is clear, why am I changing? I'm not changing because I want to show people. I'm changing for me, for my benefits, for my health, for my family. And sometimes people will not even understand that your change is the one that's going to bring change for everybody else. So you've got to accept that change yourself before letting other people accept it. The first person who should accept that change should be you. Because it's going to be a challenge within you to just accept that new you that you're bringing out. So acceptance and having that intention, as she said, is very important. I am going through this journey because, and you have a reason, and your reasons are very clear. So the challenges that are coming outside, literally, and this is what is, if we all realize that there's so many challenges that come when you want to change. But when you accept you as self, and you accept that challenges, that I'm going through this change, the ones that are outside are not strong. The ones that are stronger and
Mm.
difficult to handle are the ones
100%.
that are yours.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
You said a very good point with this, and it's so apt that you mentioned this because, you know, with growth, people think that, okay, I'm on this journey and I'm discovering myself and it's going to be amazing. And I see these happy, smiling people. And no, because as Fatma said, it's like an internal tug of war. The old you and the new you they struggling, and you're somewhere in the middle. And there's a lot of confusion that goes on at this point. But what I can tell you is that that confusion that you feel, it means you're on the right track, because it means you're not yet who you want to be. You've not yet completely embraced her, but you're also no longer who you used to be. So that confusion that you might feel like, oh my word, I'm so overwhelmed, it's actually a positive thing, because you are heading towards who you are meant to be. And as Fatma rightly said, that internal challenge and that struggle and that sort of little tug of war that you have going on, just accept and embrace it. Stop trying to fight it.
Yeah.
Stop trying to quieten it. Stop trying to whatever. Just roll with it, basically.
I can give an example of that by myself with them. I used to feel like people don't value me and people don't value what I do, and I don't feel like people know my potential. So I was always telling Shiham, you know, I think people don't understand me, they belittle me. And I think she asked me a very good question, what if you're the one who's belittling yourself? And I think that me working with her and understanding, oh, it's not them actually. I'm not valuing what I'm doing, and I don't even see that I'm powerful. Then I'm projecting it to other people. So it took me working with them to go back and realize nobody's making me feel not valued. I'm not valuing myself, and that's changed everything. I think it's you not considering what other people are going to feel when you change. Is you considering, am I ready for this change, and am I valuing this change, and I'm going in this journey because I think it's valuable and I want to become a better person. That's what counts.
Yeah.
You know what they say? When a woman heals herself, she heals infinite generations
Yes.
before and after.
Yes, sure.
I'm just thinking with what you're saying as well, you know, something I remembered is also when you're becoming this new person, right? Like the example that you're giving, to sort of own and accept and let go. Okay, I don't value myself. That's like a huge thing for someone to even accept and to actually say, oh my gosh, I'm the one who's been standing in my way. I'm the one who's not valuing myself. I'm the one who's allowing. Taking responsibility is huge, and it's one of the hardest things. And I think this is why a lot of people don't heal and grow, because it's so difficult to actually say, oh my gosh, I'm the one at fault over here.
It's easier to be a victim.
Exactly.
And blame outside.
And that's why people get stuck in victim mentality. But when you own that, as you're saying, you go, you know what, this is me, it's on me. Once I take responsibility, it also means that I have the power to change it.
Yeah.
I think when we talk about life and what we do, is like, I compare life with tango. If you're dancing with someone, you either have to learn the steps. Otherwise, you're going to be stepping on someone all the time. So you want things to change outside, but you're not changing
inside.
And you are not allowing yourself to accept that I'm going through this change. But when I'm doing it, I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for me. And I want this version of me to be seen so that I can be powerful. So you're not the only one. Taking ownership means understanding that whatever is happening in my life, I'm part of it. What part of it do I need to change so that I become the person that I want? And I'm not saying it in a bad way, because some people will say, oh, what if it's a woman is in an abusive relationship? Do you mean that she's agreeing to be abused? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she's in that relationship and she has the power to say enough.
We have freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice. So you are in that relationship, and you have a right to love yourself enough to say, what can I do so that I can change this situation?
Right.
Who can I talk to so that I can feel better? And if I'm saying that I'm staying here because of my children, the question is, what am I doing for my children right now for their future, because they can see what is going through with me? Am I making the decision for me or for them? Because sometimes you're doing the decision out of your love, but you're using that excuse to say, I'm doing it for my children. So it's very important for you to understand, where is this decision coming from? How do I take ownership for me to change the situation that I'm in right now?
Taking responsibility is a big thing, and doing introspect and
Yes.
self-discovery is major. And like Shyam and Fatima said, on this journey of healing, of growing, of oh my God, you're gonna feel like it's gonna be one step forward, 10 steps back. It's normal. You're gonna have like a great day today, and then tomorrow you're like, oh my God, I can't get out of bed. It's okay.
It's all okay.
Just be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up and be like, oh my God, I'm a failure, I'm worthless, I'm back to where I used to be. Or, those words and thoughts influence your energy, your actions, everything. So just be kind to yourself. Like if I come to you and I say, Donna, today I don't feel less for anything, I don't want to do anything, I'm just depressed, I'm just feeling down. You're gonna tell me it's okay, take your time, do you want me to come over, do you want to talk? But to yourself, you're like, oh my God, I'm such a failure, I can't even get up, I can't even do this,
Yes.
I'm unworthy.
Mhm.
So we really have to change how we talk to ourselves.
We get so upset when but it's like we get so upset when people say these things to us. Yet look at the way we talk to ourselves.
Exactly.
Nobody talks to us worse than we talk to ourselves.
Exactly.
If any person like, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm worthless, I'm whatever it is that women say to themselves, if anybody outside said that to you, you're like, who does she think she is? And yet we do it on a daily basis.
Exactly. And how you treat yourself is how you allow others to treat you. You're giving others permission to treat you like that. Because that is what you're projecting, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the question is, what is a powerful woman? Because I hear this statement, she's a powerful woman, you need to be powerful women, and women need to be powerful. So what is a powerful woman? Because for me, every woman is powerful in their own way.
Exactly.
You're powerful in your own place. But then I want to understand the fact that there's a lot of, because it's confusing. I feel like women strive so much to become that powerful woman, and they don't even understand what is a powerful woman. So who's a powerful woman?
For me, a woman who is unapologetically her truest, most beautiful self.
Yes. Yes.
Like if you are yourself in any scenario, in any environment, of course it's good to adapt, but you're not devaluing yourself, right? You're not changing your values. You're not adapting to that extreme that you change yourself. I think a powerful woman is somebody who is her truest, most beautiful self.
Yes.
Unapologetically.
For me also I agree with you completely. And I think to add to that as well, for me, I believe there's so much power in taking action.
Yeah.
And I believe a powerful woman is not just a woman that believes she can, but actually goes out and shows that she can, and not for anybody but herself. So it's to do those things that she says she wants to do. And, like I said, going out and creating that life she wants to, and, really putting her foot down and saying, this is what I will accept and what I will not, and living in a manner where people can see that, okay, this is Nora, this is Fatma, this is Donna, whoever, and she lives by her word. So I think that's powerful when you actually live what you're talking.
That is true. And I think when we know that we're not perfect, our imperfection is what makes us beautiful. I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna become I'm going to be depressed, I'm going to be angry, I'm going to lose, I'm going to fail. And all these imperfections are the things that are teaching us to become that powerful woman. And with everything that you're saying, that's what a powerful woman. So everybody has their own, when you understand your own strength, your weakness, and your uniqueness. And I think most women don't understand that when you understand your uniqueness can be something very small.
Exactly.
Just being kind, and you make people feel good. There's not a lot of people who can do that.
True.
So when you understand how unique you are as a person, not what people tell you, but you yourself, then you are a very powerful person, because then you live your life the way you want. And that's a powerful woman. And it's and in this society, I think we are talking, we're just to understand our own uniqueness, our own power, our own understanding about life, and you start loving yourself, and it feels good. But it's a journey, it's a process. And until now, you're learning. There's so many things I'm
100%.
still learning.
Every
I
day.
wake up and I go like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, you have to also, it's not, healing is not a destination, right?
Yes.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Every day is going to be different.
So true.
You
It is
keep
like
on
growth.
learning, you keep on going. We are human beings, we are meant to change. We're not
Yes.
meant to be stagnant.
Somebody explained this, and I love this analogy. You know, when you go to the hospital and they connect those things to see if a patient is dead or alive, right? When you're alive, it's going up and down. And when it's straight, it means you're dead. And if you look at this in life, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
If your life is going like this, you're not living. You're dead. Life has ups
You're
and
living the
downs.
same day every day and calling it a life.
Exactly. So life has ups and downs. Embrace it. Ladies, it's like 11:30 now. I would say, what are your final messages for the women out there that you'd like to leave with in terms of sort of, you know, no longer playing small and stepping into who we are? Final words.
For me, I would say your values are very important. When you know your values, you know your worth, because your values define who you are. And finding that identity of who I am as a person is a very powerful thing. So it is good to know what are your values, what defines me as a woman, what do I want out of life, and work with your values, no matter how, because people will never understand you. But if you understand your own values and you try to understand other people's values so that you don't collide with them, I think you tend to find a way to navigate life. And we have to stop, you don't have to be perfect, but don't also allow people to make you become perfect because they want. If you're not allowing yourself to be perfect, then nobody else needs to make you to become perfect. So, and this happens only when you know your values. I am not perfect, but I know who I am and I know what I want. So I think understanding your value and your worth and having gratitude, I think that's one thing that we are so much blessed with so many things, and we never look at the things that we have. We normally look at the pain and the disadvantages. But I think if you allow yourself to look at your life as a blessing, because life is a blessing. Every day you wake up in the morning, you're giving an opportunity to become a new person. So that's a blessing. So if you see life as a blessing, there's a lot of things for you to be grateful for.
Very nice. For you?
Like I said earlier, and to add to the values, which Fatima explained about, its beliefs, it's really important to write down a list of all your beliefs regarding womanhood, since this is the topic, but just in general as well. And you can see the first discomfort or comfort that comes to mind will tell you, this is my belief or this is not my belief. This is something that I was taught 20 years ago and it served me 20 years ago. But for this life, this current me now, it doesn't serve me anymore. So it's okay for you to release all those beliefs that doesn't serve you anymore. Like, as a mother, I'm supposed to do everything alone. As a mother, it is my job to do everything for my child, to take care of her 24/7. Or like they used to say, oh yeah, you're a mother now, that's your job. No, that's not my job. So release whatever doesn't serve you and replace it with new beliefs. Like, I am a strong mother. I'm a working mother, and working shows my child that she can work and she can have a household. She can do both. She can be a woman in her own right, you know? So it's important to release those beliefs which doesn't serve you anymore and make new beliefs. Once you make the invisible visible, you have more clarity to where you are and where you want to go.
For me, the last thing I would say is, and I mean, we say this all the time, but women, you need to realize you cannot pour from an empty cup. We keep 100%. Trying to give and give and give, and we are completely depleted and there's nothing to give. We want to give our families happiness, but we're not happy. We want to give our families love, but we don't feel love. We don't love ourselves. We want to make our children feel worthy and valued, but we don't feel worthy and valued. So the thing is, when you start taking care of yourself, please understand that this is not selfish. It's actually the opposite, because when you truly start taking care of yourself and you fill your cup, you are filled with so much and you have so much abundance in your life. It means you are overflowing and have more to give to others. You can give your family, your colleagues, your friends, whoever you want to share that with. You have so much abundance of love and happiness and gratitude and all of those good and wonderful things that you want to give to them. But remember, you can't give something that you don't have to give in the first place. So that would be my big message. You playing small and taking away from yourself, it's just, emptying your cup. So you've got to start doing the opposite in order to achieve what you want to do. And yeah, I think that's...
Donna, what was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah.
If you know me, well, Shyam probably knows that I've got a long list again that I need to work on.
Amazing. I love it.
But yeah, thank you for taking the time, ladies. So definitely for this weekend, I'll be thinking about what my values are, what they, or Shyam says that they can change over time. So maybe to re-look at my values, and then also release things that don't, or beliefs that don't serve me anymore. I think I am stuck on that one as well. And something that I am always struggling with is this cup of mine, because my cup is always empty. But I don't know, I'm starting to chip away parts of the ceramic to give to people. I don't have anything in my cup. So I even need to buy me a new cup and buy me boxes of water. And yeah, just release and fill up. Yeah.
You need to buy a bigger cup.
I need to buy a bigger cup or a kettle or something. But no, thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Donna.
No, thanks for your time, ladies. It was lovely seeing you all.